thought today I would share with you how I make cacao, ceremonial cacao. So today I'm going to use the Wildcraft ceremonial cacao. So this is a Tasmanian cacao, so they import the beans, the whole beans, and then they stone ground them themselves here in Tasmania, which is really cool. I don't know if there's anywhere else in Tasmania that grinds their own beans into a cacao paste. So this is the one I'm going to use today. It comes in a nice cardboard box. I like that better than a lot of the other packaging, and it's really thoughtful the way it's packaged. It's like wrapped in paper. It's got recipe cards in it. That's folded. This is a bit of an old box. It's also got these really beautiful bird cards. So there's a different one in each box. I've obviously had a few boxes. So this is what I'm using, obviously, while I wait for my cacao, which I am going to import from Ecuador. So yeah, in the meantime, I'm using this. This cacao comes from Peru. And yeah, so when they come from different regions, they have different properties and different flavors and stuff to them. So yeah, this one's organic, small batch, ethical, which is, yeah, aligns with everything that I like. The cacao I'm hoping to source is going to be organic as well. So yeah, so it comes in a block. So I've used half of this block. This is a 500 gram box, so I've already used some of it. So basically I just chop it up with a knife when I'm ready to use it. Some people pre-chop theirs all and just keep it in a jar, but I've just been chopping this one as I go, and I like to eat little bits that fall off. So I always guess what I'm doing, but if I'm measuring, I would do 2 big spoonfuls. Dropped a spoon. 2 big spoonfuls this size. So it's quite tricky to chop. Like, it can be quite firm to chop. This one's pretty good actually. So I'll just chop what I think is roughly 2 tablespoons. And then I always make mine on the stove, just because that's how I prefer it. So I might go a bit more today just because that's what I feel like. So you'll see it's coming out quite flaky. I don't know if you can see that. It's quite flaky, and I dropped a flake. But yeah, it's just like little shards, so it's easier to melt this way. You could try and cut a big chunk off, but it just makes it trickier to melt. And then I'll get my milk. So we use all non-homogenized milk. There's a place that we go to where we just refill our own bottles off a tap. It's really cool. I've never seen it anywhere else. But yeah, you just take your bottles in there, and there's like a tap in there, like a kind of like a beer tap, I guess, to refill your bottles of milk. So I just measure out my milk into the cup that I'll be using, because that's how much liquid I want. This is one of my cups that I made in one of my pottery courses that I've done. So I've just filled that up. Yeah, there you go. It's filled right up. And then I'll tip that into my saucepan. Now I have an electric stovetop, which I don't like. It really annoys me, but that's what we've got. So I've set mine to 5, so that's about midway point. And then basically I just chuck it in straight away. So it just depends on what else I'm doing, but I'll just scrape these into the saucepan now. That is basically that part. So I use honey as a sweetener. You can use maple syrup. I avoid refined sugar, so that's why I use honey. But in Ayurveda, it's believed if honey is too hot, like heated too high, it becomes toxic within the body. So I like to add my honey. I normally add it in the blender to blend it through, but I don't add it into the stovetop when it's cooking on the stove, because that's just going to heat it even higher. And I always put about a teaspoon of ghee and a pinch of salt. I can put the pinch of salt in now actually. So this is also something I made. So add a pinch of salt, and then I'll just give it a stir every now and then. It's not too much you really have to worry about with that one. You just wait for it to heat up. So the reasons I love cacao so much is while we wait for that to heat, It is the highest plant-based food source of iron, zinc, and magnesium. It has more antioxidants in it than blueberries. And then it has these 3 feel-good molecules. So there's anandamide, PEA, and theobromine. So PEA has a longer word. I can't remember what it is. If I can be bothered, I'll put it up there. But theobromine is a stimulant, but it's a gentle stimulant. So not like caffeine where you get the jitters and the crash. This is more of a gentle stimulant. I think it's like a slower release stimulant. And then PEA is the same molecule that is found in weed that gives you that feel-good, fuzzy feeling in your brain, apparently. And then anandamide is more of a heart opener. So they're all kind of heart openers. So that is the extent of my scientific knowledge of cacao, but basically they are designed to help you to open your heart and to relax and to feel, and that's why people do journeys with it, because if you have higher doses, then it can, like I've had experiences where I've had a really, really strong dose and I swear it sends you into a bit of a different state. Like I was at the library one time and I'd had so much cacao and I was just like, oh my gosh, books are so amazing. Like all these books are just magical and I love them so much. So I don't know, but I swear it made me a little bit trippy, but it just made me feel so good. So I have cacao every day. It's really good for your heart health as well. I was listening to a podcast too recently where they did this study on women who had chocolate when they were pregnant. And apparently women who continued to eat chocolate throughout their pregnancy reported back that when their child was of the age 2, that they were a happier and easier to manage child. So whether that's really, you can really back that up, but I feel like it's a very good reason to have lots of chocolate when you're pregnant and just if it makes you feel good. I think it has gotten a really bad rap, chocolate, and everyone's like, oh, it's just a treat, which it is. It's amazing. And this stuff, it's not cheap, but I think the bad rap comes from the sugars. So yeah, I kind of jumped off the sugar bandwagon a long time ago now, like over 10, 12, I don't even know, probably 15 years ago, and noticed such a huge difference. Like it was really hard to quit, but you do really notice a huge difference. And every now and then I'll have a treat and I just don't worry about it, like if it's got sugar. But day to day, we don't have sugar in our house. Yeah, there's no sugar in our house and we don't cook with it. We don't add it to things. Yes, we use the honey, but that's a natural, like I know sugar is natural, but it's so highly processed. So yeah, we go with honey normally for our sweeteners and just try not to heat it too much. I used to use it in cooking, but then when I learned about it becoming toxic when you heat it, I stopped. What I do when I have cacao is I try to make it really intentional. I pick a quiet moment in my day. I like to make it before I go and have my bath so that I can have it in there in the bath with me. And I always like to set an intention so that it feels more purposeful and that I get more out of it, I feel then. So the way I do it is I just kind of hold the cup in my hand and then I like to place a hand over my heart and then close down my eyes and just kind of relax into the moment, let everything go, and then feel into what intention will serve me in that moment. So a good one for me right now, which has just been a general theme lately, would be I trust and am guided by my intuition. So I would just say that, really infuse the cacao with that energy, and then I would slowly take a sip. So that's how I set intention with it. I'm also going to add ginger to this one today. So you can add different spices. Sometimes I add cinnamon, ginger. I love to add a bit of cayenne pepper, but I'm feeling ginger. So again, trust my intuition, go with what feels good. So I'm going to add about, let's see if I can do that much ginger, which is a lot, but we're going with it. So I've sat in cacao ceremonies probably like 4 times, I think. I'm gonna give this a stir because it's getting nice and warm. You don't want it to boil. You just want it to slowly heat up and melt. because if you boil it, you're gonna burn the milk. So I used full milk in this one. You can use half water, half milk. You can use your nut milks. But yeah, I've gotten back onto the bandwagon of having milk, so I used milk. But yeah, I've sat in cacao ceremony at least 4 or 5 times, I would say. There was a great place in Perth that I would go to who runs events, and they had a teepee in their backyard, and you would sit, and it was encouraged to be in silence in this space, and they would guide you through meditation, and it was a 3-hour ceremony, and it was really cool. You would have 1 dose of cacao at the beginning, and it was really strong. I don't think they made theirs with the milk, just to obviously cater for everyone in the group. And then you had the option of having a 2nd dose halfway through, when they kind of like paused, let everyone go to the bathroom or whatever they needed to do, and then come back to the space, or you could just stay in the space and you have your 2nd cacao. So I always found those journeys really insightful for me, and they weren't always pleasant, but they brought up what needed to be brought up. So I guess when you're working with heart openers and the heart, if you haven't been feeling your emotions, there's gonna be more that comes up for you to release in order to get to that state of like feeling the love and the joy and those supposedly more beautiful emotions. Because if you've been suppressing your emotions for a while, you have to move through them to be able to get to the deeper levels of love, and you can't really have one without the other. Like, to be able to experience love, you have to have experienced, I don't even know what the opposite of love would really be. It's not hatred, but those supposedly more negative emotions. So yeah, I've definitely had experiences with cacao that have been deeper and more emotional, and have brought up a lot of stuff for me. And it's taken like a day or 2 to like come back to that really like to be able to get to that beautiful space. So you kind of like had to feel what you had to feel, and then give yourself time to integrate it and move through it. And then you came out from on the other side in that more beautiful heart opening space. So every journey is different. I feel like you can't really go into it with expectations. You can set intention and trust that whatever is in the way of you achieving that intention is what is going to come up for you to work through. That's kind of the way I've always dealt with it. So for me, I feel and I'm guided by my intuition. So anything that's blocking me from being guided by my intuition should ideally come up and allow me to move through that, so that I can be guided by that intuition and trust myself a bit more. All right, I'm going to check. So I've put in my ginger, I've put in a pinch of salt. We've got the honey for later. So all right, I'm gonna turn that off. So you have to blend cacao. I have a cacao blender specifically, which just use a normal blender. Ideally not plastic. This one obviously has plastic parts, but this is glass. And I can get the lid on. All right, so I'm gonna pour my cacao into there. Let's see if I can do it in front of the camera and not make a mess. All right, so it's still got lumps in it. That doesn't matter because they're gonna mix together when you blend it. So that is why you kind of blend it, to make it all come together. Makes the fats kind of come together as well, because they can separate. So it doesn't look that appealing right now. And I'm just gonna, I should have probably poured it the other way so you can see. It's okay. I'm going to scrape out the remainder of the cacao, because you don't want to waste it. It's like gold, this stuff. I honestly, if I run out of cacao in life, it's not a fun time. I really don't. I'm gonna add ghee now. I've been using more ghee lately in my diet. Again, in Ayurveda, they believe it's really good for digestion, lubricating the joints, and it's just one of those superfoods in Ayurveda that is really good for you. So I add it into, oh, there's a rabbit. I'd show you, but I've got my camera set up on 6 books, very precariously, for this shot. So we're not moving that for you to be able to see the rabbit. Sorry, if it's still out there when I'm finished, I'll get you a shot. So yeah, adding about a teaspoon of ghee, if you can see that. I'll just put that in. Right. And then it's still quite warm. You also don't want to put the blender thing on straight away because it's hot. Like you need it to drop for a second. And then I use quite a lot of honey. So this honey is amazing. It's called Bush. The taste is Bush. So it's obviously Australian honey. And it just tastes so good. They have like 15 different flavors at this place. It's the Bruny Island honey shop. And this one's been my favorite. And they refill the jars as well, which is really cool. So we just take our jar back in there and they fill it back up for us. So you can see that. Bruny Island honey, the bush flavor. So yeah, we just got this refilled last week. Yes, we use a lot of honey. Yeah, that was last week filled. All right, so I'll give it a bit of a stir just because help the blender along and get the honey off my spoon. All right, and again, I use probably half of this big spoon, but you can always just put a little bit and add more at the end. Or like I said, maple syrup's a really good option for it. I don't even think what other sweeteners there are right now. They're kind of the go-to ones. All right, so it's gonna be loud. Bear with me. Oh, it's probably not that loud for you. See, I don't know if you can see, it's all combining. Just gonna release the air out because it's hot. Just gonna scrape the sides down because a bit of cacao that was on the top is there. Like I said, I don't want to waste it. So this makes it, yeah, really foamy and delicious. Gives it more of a creamy texture too. I've definitely had cacao without blending it. It's just not as creamy. So this makes it really foamy and yummy. And this is quite a straw one today. Now I have measured it, but because I've made it foamy, it's gonna be so full. So you can see there. That works well actually. You can see now how foamy it is. Whoa, just fits. Perfect, which it should have, obviously, because you measured. And that's it really. That's how I make my cacao. So then I just sip on it, I journal or I read, or yeah, like I said, I just try to be really intentional. My partner makes it for me sometimes, and sometimes he makes it better for me. I think just because he makes it with so much love, because he knows how important it is to me. And I think that's part of it too. Making it with love and intention. Sometimes I'll infuse it with Reiki. So as I'm like cooking it in the pot, I'll just do some Reiki symbols over it and connect to the energy of Reiki, and then just really infuse that intention into it as well. Thank you for joining me for making cacao. If you want the recipe, you can reach out to me. If you're interested in making your own cacao, then yeah, share with me. Sorry, I'm brain farted. Yeah, I think I'm hoping to have my range of cacao soon. So hopefully when I've got more information on that, I can share it with you, which will be amazing. And I've been doing my Somatic trauma-informed yin yoga teacher training, so I can't wait to update you on that. I would love to practice some techniques with you. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and maybe I can do that in the next video. But yeah, thank you for being here. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and leave a comment, like and share. This is, yeah, a new channel and it's kind of like my baby, so if it's brought value to your life, I'd really appreciate you sharing. It just really reaffirms that what I'm doing and what I'm sharing is what you need right now. So I really appreciate it. So here's to enjoying your cacao.